Now, so let me go to Revelation chapter 13 and confirm this matter, what I'm talking about, speaking to you of. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13. I said 11-18, and I'm going to show you something here. I want to start at 13:11. I don't, I'm not, I'm going to start before that. Uh, I have let you know the Revelation chapter 13 is the invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq. I spoke that and I'm showing you this here. And it also is the fulfillment of the prophecy spoken of in Daniel chapter 2, where it said that strange image was terrible and dreadful. He had a head of gold, the shoulders and arms was of silver, the breast, the legs, the thighs was of brass, and the legs was iron, and the feet part iron and part clay. And I described to you in Daniel in that same chapter, chapter 2, he said the brass was going to be ruled. Brass is the military chiefs of the commander chiefs of the military fighting force. But the head of gold is the richest nation of the earth. And the silver, that what head was riding on, which was the shoulders and the arm, they are the next richest. These are unified, united nations together out of the north, because this is what Jeremiah, the prophet of Jeremiah in question, was speaking of when I return back to that part. But I want to go to this here part of Revelation chapter 13 as I promised. And I want to start a little bit earlier. Verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. This is the saints. And to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues or nations. That means he's going to get victory over World War III. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose name are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have a ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld, verse 11 of Revelation chapter 13 is the one I promised. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. He said he had two horns like a lamb. A lamb becomes the figs, have the figs, the basket of figs. But as he spoke as a dragon, it identifies this boy became the bad pigs, because he spoke as the dragon. And I'll get to that part. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. The beast, I said, was the United States and the United Nations, who united them, the families out of the north, spoken of in Jeremiah chapter 1, when God said he was going to call the families out of the north, and they're going to break forth over the whole earth. Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image of the beast which had the wound by the head and did live. The head image means take on the law of democracy, which was spoken of in Daniel chapter 3, where King Nebuchadnezzar made this image of gold, which was symbolized by that head of gold, created an image of gold, which was a law of democracy, giving it to God's people, contaminating them, making changing one part, that the divided kingdom, into a spoiled basket of pigs. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that law of democracy, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. This is Afghanistan and Iraq with the two horns. And he causes all, both as great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that he no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, chapter 18, verse 18. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. That's my number, which is the black horse, which is the black prophet. And he said, this man had wisdom. In other words, to give you understanding. He's a God-sent man. To give you understanding what the prophecy that God's speaking of. He is also spoken of in Revelation chapter 6 as the black horse with a pair of balance. But the part that you see, which came from Jeremiah chapter 1, which began as a white horse and marched to the breadth of the earth, slaying many peoples and tongues and nations until he stained his red. He is not genetically altered because of his genetic traits. What he did, he became symbolized by the red horse. But his genetic color code will always remain what he is, because this is not a genetic alteration. This became a way of what he did, which caused God to show you image what he did, because he shed a lot of blood. And right here as the pale horse, it would become, the genetic color code remains a white horse, but this should identify what he would do in the end. But he would use the bad things that was against God, which shows you this was a divided kingdom. These two horns that was upon the ram that we see that God gave us in prophecy, they are the governmental bodies that these rich nations, which was out of the Gentile, put in place, because they was the basket of the bad pigs spoken of in Jeremiah chapter 24, 1-10, that God was speaking of, that was so bad that God could not use them. And during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, because it was Nebuchadnezzar that he spoke of in Daniel chapter 2, telling him that he was going to be a ruler over the whole world, wherever the power be, that God was going to make him a ruler over the whole world, him and the Chaldees. And Habakkuk chapter 1, it tells you that the Chaldees would march to the breadth of the earth, and they would become taking land dwelling that's not there. So when you take and mix the two together, the Chaldees and the Gentiles and King Nebuchadnezzar together, they are the same people. And when you see all of these things coming to pass in these later days, then you'll understand that the Bible prophecy that God spoke is true. And these things that the prophecy was prophesied, spoken by the mouth of the prophet, is coming to pass, then you know that God sent these men. But if there is a prophet who have gone out and spoke things, if they are not coming as they say, just like the man who was the author of the Quran, his prophecy is no prophecy, because he never spoke concerning these matters. And so he said, these are the false prophets who deceive people. But when you see the prophecy of Jeremiah, Daniel, and even myself, I showed you the condition that God gave me in a vision. And when these things come to pass, then you know I was God sent. And God sent me to speak to the world and warn the world of what is coming to pass. And these things could not hold back. In other words, this vision that God gave me, he spoke to you about me in Revelation chapter 13, 18, said, this man is wisdom. This is wisdom. And when he gave me these things here, and we see that one sit up high on these vultures was white